The second trailer for Chapter 5 just released, where they reveal a new mystery character and give us a ton of new teases and questions going into the next game that we're gonna break down and hopefully solve right now. So unexpectedly, Mob posted this trailer, which is actually a YouTube short, something they also did for the Pianosaurus teaser, that is simply named Experiment 1202. The trailer starts with a zoomed up shot of a hoppy hopscotch head that then falls to the floor as the camera zooms out, showing an array of smiling critter body parts hung up in the playtime labs. As the camera keeps moving, suddenly we hear something walking, and out of nowhere, a small creature appears on the scene and begins moving past the room. However, after nearly walking off screen, a large shock hits their body, and within a couple seconds of being electrocuted, the creature goes silent and presumably dies, ending the quick trailer. Now, from what we can tell, this trailer appears to take place in the aforementioned labs where Chapter 5 will be centered around, but more specifically, it's in some kind of operating room where there are various hung up body parts on a rack, similar to something like a slaughterhouse, for the scientists to collect and use as needed, which is interesting and quite disturbing. But beyond that, this trailer brings up all sorts of questions, and the first one I want to answer is, who is this character we see running in the trailer? Well, there's a few different theories bouncing around the community right now, with the first one being that it's some kind of smiling critter, because looking at the character's shape, in some frames, they appear to have nubby legs and a big head like these smiling critters. Plus, the operating room they are running through, spare from a huggy hand, primarily contains smiling critter parts. So this could easily just be a runaway smiling critter experiment gone loose. I mean, in Chapter 4's first teaser trailer, they introduced Baba Chops and the nightmare critters in the same way, through a runaway smiling critter getting attacked. Or you could even argue that it's instead a new line of critters like they've done for the past two chapters, and this is a way of introducing and teasing that. Either way, it's an interesting theory, however, there are quite a few problems with it. For one, if it were some reused smiling critter, I doubt they would mask the character in the shadows like it was something completely new, unless it was a new character, nor would it explain why there's a new experiment number in the title. And also, I doubt they would be making another critters line to go along with the already 16 that we have, because people were already tired of these reused designs with Chapter 4, and at this point, it would heavily oversaturate the game. The only way I could see this working is I've seen some people mention that maybe this character will be some kind of smiling critters Frankenstein all put together, made from all of the hung up parts, which would explain why they showed them to us, which would be pretty cool, but even that I feel like is unlikely. The second and more likely theory is that they're going to be one of the leaked character names or toy lines that we've gotten over the past few months but haven't seen specifically, like Chum Chompkins, Ragbag, Loopsy Noodle, or we've even also heard of a leaked toy line called the Playtime Co. Wrong Side Outimals that also haven't been revealed yet in any official material, possibly finally being teased here. However, the third and my personal favorite theory is that this character could be none other than the Ragdoll toy, who is a toy you've probably seen me mention before. They were spotted inside of this Fortnite art, and more recently, the Chapter 5 Halloween art. And the reason I believe this is because, for one, the character's design is very similar to the Ragdoll toy, even more so than the Smiling Critters. But most importantly, while the toy is being shocked, if we look all the way at the top of the screen, you probably missed it, but we can see none other than the Ragdoll toy itself sitting there looking over at us. Now, this could just be a general teaser for this character like the other times that we've seen them, but Mob is usually very specific about where and what they tease. So with them putting this one character here and none of the others that we've seen them tease in previous materials, I wonder if it's meant to be a hint that this is the experiment form of the Ragdoll toy, who judged from the title of the short would be Experiment 1202 if we're right. And also, who knows? We don't know this character's name, but it could still be one of the unrevealed leaked names, or could even be a part of the Wrong Side Outimals line as well. I'm not exactly sure what its final name will be or what toy line it'll be in, but I'm pretty confident in this theory, and if you have any other insight or arguments, let me know in the comments below. But outside of what the character physically is, just as interesting, we see the character get shocked and killed after reaching the end of the room. Bringing up the second question of this video, who or what shocked the toy? This one is much more difficult to even speculate on because there's very little shown here. But the first theory I've seen going around is that this could be the prototype's doing. The prototype, we already know, is often violent and is on a mission to collect various experiments for some mystery purpose, even if he has to kill his own servants. So he definitely has a motive to go around killing experiments and collecting them for whatever his mission is, with the only problem in this theory being that, for right now anyway, we don't know of him having any kind of electrical shocking abilities, but we have seen him take and use green grab pack hands before in the past, so maybe that's what he could be using to do this. I'm not sure, but in terms of what little we have information wise, I would say that this is probably the most likely, even if it's still probably a stretch. Some other theories I wanted to bring up are that possibly this could be an electric trap of some kind, since as mentioned, this is in some kind of operating room where the experiments were made, so maybe they set up defenses where in the event an experiment went rogue mid-operation and tried to escape, it would be zapped and sedated before destroying the entire area. Or another interesting theory is that this zapping that's happening could possibly be related to this weird baseball device we saw teased in the Chapter 5 Halloween art. This device sticks out like a sore thumb. We don't really know what it's for, but it's clearly important for something, and most importantly, it does have electric properties of some kind, being wired up to what looks like a rod. So especially since we've theorized in past videos that this rod might be a weapon of some sorts or new grab pack hand that we will get to use and collect in the game, it's possible it could be used to zap things, and throughout the chapter, kind of like the past couple, there will be smaller minor characters lurking throughout the labs that we will have to shock periodically to keep us on our toes. But I don't really know. Overall, this trailer is extremely confusing. It's probably one of the most cryptic ones we've ever gotten, and getting closer to Chapter 5's release, to be honest, we're left with a whole lot of questions, but not really any answers. So hopefully we'll get to learn what is going on in this trailer soon, but make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any of that, and I'll talk to you guys later.